Ignoring risks can lead to disproportionate losses. Reasonable risk awareness and countermeasures are rewarding in the long term. Risk is an uncertain event or condition that, if it occurs, has an effect on at least one objective. It also includes both negative and positive impacts on objectives. Risk is usually associated with something negative, but it can also be a positive opportunity that benefits the company. Awareness of positive risks increases the readiness to make maximum use of the opportunities. There are 4 main risk factors. The first is probability. What is the probability that the event will happen? The second is influence. How significant will the impact be? The third is possible time. When may the risk occur and for how long? And the fourth is frequency. How often can this happen? The most important factor is the probability that the event can happen. Usually, the probability is between 1 and 100%. If it's 1%, there's no risk. If it's 100%, there's huge risk. Another factor is influence or severity. How much will the risk impact the cooperative's operations? Why risk management? The only alternative to risk management is crisis management, but it is a much more costly, expensive, time-consuming, and even shameful process. Here are just a few of the reasons why risk management is a good practice to consider. First, risk management means much more than preparing for the worst. It also means taking advantage of opportunities to improve your market position or reduce costs. Focus efforts. Help set priorities. Be proactive rather than reactive. Be prepared for risks before they come true. Improve results. Achieve your business goals. Effective risk management could even affect a company's survival. Risk management includes the following steps. First, risk identification. The company identifies and defines potential risks that may negatively influence a specific company, process, or project. Risk analysis. Once specific types of risks are identified, the company then determines the odds of it occurring as well as the consequences. The goal of the analysis is to further understand each specific instance of risk, how it can influence the company's projects and objectives. Risk assessment and evaluation. The risk is then further evaluated after determining the risk's overall likelihood of occurrence, combined with its overall consequence. The company can then make decisions on whether the risk is acceptable and whether the company is willing to take it based on its risk appetite. Risk mitigation. During this step, companies assess their highest ranked risks and develop a plan to alleviate them using specific risk controls. These plans include risk mitigation processes, risk prevention tactics, and contingency plans in the event the risk comes to fruition. Risk monitoring. Part of the mitigation plan includes following up on both the risks and the overall plan to continuously monitor and track new and existing risks. The overall risk management process should also be reviewed and updated accordingly. Types of business risks. In order to identify business risk, it is crucial to understand the different types of business risk and their implications for the company. Let's take a look at a list of business risks. Strategic risk. Out of all the kinds of business risk, strategic risk has the most implication on reaching your desired goals. If a company's strategy becomes less effective, objectives are not as easily met. This could be down to shifts in customer demand, new competitors, rising interest rates, and other changes. Compliance risk. Compliance risk refers to whether or not a company is complying with the laws and regulations that are applicable to the business and the country in which it operates. Financial risk. All types of business risk tend to come with some sort of financial risk. This type of risk refers to the flow of money in and out of your company and the potential for financial loss. Reputational risk. Reputational risk can also be called client business risk, and it refers to the potential for a damaged reputation. A damaged reputation will result in the loss of revenue and have other effects on the company. Operational risk. Any failure with your business's day-to-day operations is known as operational risk. This could be seen in a technical failure, for example. There are different ways in which cooperatives can deal with positive and negative risks. For negative risks, first of all, avoid. Use only known technologies and methods. Second, mitigate. Simplify the process, develop prototypes. Third, transfer. Insurance and warranty. Fourth, accept. If no action is feasible or risk impact or probability is small, then have a plan for what to do in case the risk occurs. For positive risks, first of all, exploit. Put the best team members and resources. Second of all, enhance. Increase the probability and impact of opportunity. Third, share with other teams, companies. Accept, but do not actively pursue them, because opportunities are not always so attractive. The risk matrix is a practical tool to categorize risks. The matrix helps in identifying those risks which require an immediate response. Use of standardized matrix makes the matrix list more repeatable between projects. Use a simple 4-step plan. Step 1. Anticipate what could go wrong. Define the variables and threats to your success. Identify the worst-case scenario for each variable. Step 2. Assess the impact of the risks to the company. This can be done by evaluating a risk based on both priority and impact. Step 3. Find the cause of the risk. This can be accomplished by extracting the underlying root cause from members and key stakeholders. Step 4. Define your next steps and get started. Take measures to prevent failure or minimize its impact. What is the contingency plan or mitigation plan? What are my plans to prevent the risk from happening, and how will I respond if the risk happens? Other information gathering and analysis techniques include brainstorming, which is done with a group of people who focus on identification of risk for the project. There's also the DELPHI technique, where a team of experts is consulted anonymously, a list of required information is sent to experts, responses are compiled, and then responses are sent back to them for further review until a consensus is reached. There's also interviewing. An interview is conducted with project participants, stakeholders, experts, etc. to identify risks. Then there's the SWOT analysis: strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Strengths and weaknesses are identified for the project, and thus risks are determined. Expected monetary value analysis. Expected monetary value is a good measure to determine the overall ranking of risks. The formula is EMV equals PXI, where EMV equals expected monetary value, P equals probability, I equals impact. Risk is an uncertain event or condition that, if it occurs, has an effect on at least one objective. Risk management means much more than preparing for the worst. It also means taking advantage of opportunities to improve your market position or reduce costs. Risk management includes risk identification, risk analysis, risk assessment, risk mitigation, and risk monitoring. In conclusion, risk management is like driving safely. The car is ready for driving, the driver is fastened, watches the road and the surrounding, and observes the rules. Now, here are some questions for discussion. First, what should be the risk probability that would put you in the business of mitigating risks? 30%, 50-50, 70%? Second, what are the major risks that could hinder achieving goals of the cooperative? And third, what simple and practical steps can be taken to reduce risk?